The breaking news this morning, the new twist in President Donald Trump's controversial travel and immigration ban.
Can I say real quick, it's great to have you back this weekend. We all missed you. Back
you.
to the news. A federal judge has imposed a nationwide hold on Trump's executive order. Now, it will halt parts of the executive action, which temporarily bars some immigrants and refugees from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. We have seen worldwide protests since the president signed that order last week.
Overnight, several airlines announced that citizens of the 7 countries who have the appropriate paperwork will be allowed to travel to the U.S., but the Trump administration is fighting back here.
They certainly are. White House spokesman Sean Spicer releasing a statement calling the judge's order, quote, outrageous, and vowing to take legal action to defend the president's executive order. So let's head straight to Washington this morning. ABC's senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas joins us. Hi, Pierre.
Good morning, Paula. That federal judge in Washington state freezing enforcement of President Trump's order restricting some refugees from entering the U.S. Last night, the White House, as you said, was livid, vowing that the Justice Department would take emergency action to challenge that judge.
In the order issued last night, U.S. District Judge James Robart concluded that Washington state's businesses, educational facilities, and tax base could be damaged by Trump's restrictions on refugees from some countries.
The state has met its burden of demonstrating that it faces immediate and irreparable injury as a result of the signing and implementation of the executive order.
In addition to claiming that Trump's order would damage the state's economy, Washington officials argued that the executive order is discriminatory against Muslims. But they suspect that the ruling in their favor is only round one.
I'm certain the president will not like this decision, but it is his job, it is his responsibility, it is his obligation as our president to honor it. And I'll make sure he does.
The order is effective nationwide and impacts roughly 60,000 foreign nationals who had their visas revoked due to Trump's order. It's unclear this morning whether those banned from entering the U.S. will be allowed to do so anytime soon, and how this affects thousands of refugees and immigrants already in the country. At least 4 overseas airlines are allowing people from the affected countries on flights to the U.S. The court fight is clearly just beginning, with the Justice Department making the case that Congress has given the president broad authority to oversee immigration and to protect national security.
It's the president that gets to make the determinations, and the court doesn't have authority to look behind those determinations.
It was a confusing day. There are multiple lawsuits challenging the executive order across the country. In a separate case in Boston, a federal judge said while there were compelling arguments on both sides, he does not believe that those challenging Trump's executive order are likely to succeed.
Some legal scholars believe there's a strong likelihood that at least one of these cases will make its way to the Supreme Court. This fight appears far from over.
Much more to come on this, but Pierre, let's get back to this case in Washington state. Some people might be surprised to learn that the judge in question here is not a liberal.
Dan, here's what we know. The judge was nominated by President George W. Bush and confirmed by the Senate in a vote of 99-0.
Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice Correspondent. Paula, sorry for interrupting you. Carry on.
No worries. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Pierre.